Sikh turbans raised slogans which were distinctly not Sikh by nature. No action has been taken against them so far. Websites and accounts of many pro-Pakistan separatist outfits like the United Kashmir People's National Party, Tehreek-e-Kashmir, Hizbul Tahrir operate freely in the UK despite them being banned elsewhere. Any attempt to raise questions on these groups in the past has been warded off by British politicians, constrained not by what is right, but by the electoral demography of their constituencies. It is this prostitution of politics at the micro level that has permitted the UK to become over time a safe haven for groups that wish to harm India. Post-Brexit, everyone knows the UK has lost much of its earlier direction. Not being able to reclaim past glory or live up to its past name weighs very heavily on a country that fights to justify its influence and existence at the geopolitical high table. British parliamentarians, save but a few, have been reduced to rudderless chickens, willing to raise funds and appease just about anyone to stay in office. And the demography of the United Kingdom means these are largely anti-India groups and outfits. Remember that not for a moment is this to suggest that these are whole communities. But British politicians frequently bow to these extremist forces, thereby painting entire communities with their brushes. Let's not forget the UK's stand on an informal consultation on the UN Security Council, a move sponsored by China over India's abrogation of Article 370 a few years ago. We don't know what happened in those closed-door consultations, but there are reports that suggest that the UK pretty much delivered a view that China and Pakistan would have been pleased with. Only the US and France were firmly in opposition. As a permanent member of the UN Security Council, the UK has demonstrated a visibly deteriorating political culture, and as it is so happens so often, that culture impinges on Indian national security. Don't forget how the UK continues to play paradise to Indian millionaire escapees like Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi. The usual explanations over extradition law, etc., evaporate in the light of everything I've just described, don't they? In the 1980s, then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had imposed costs on the UK by withholding billions of dollars in exports, forcing his British counterpart Margaret Thatcher to crack down on separatist Sikhs. Times have most certainly changed, but India's stature has risen immeasurably since then. And if India does not consider imposing costs on the UK for its steady, sustained and committed support of anti-India forces, then it must make its peace with the UK as a safe haven for potential terror groups in the future. Literally, the price tag for friendship needs to go up by many multiples. The United Kingdom's slide towards Pakistan, the world's largest exporter of global terror, a country that was a haven for Osama bin Laden, a country that stands back and watches its terrorists butcher its own children, is a slide that India cannot take in its stride. Our relations with the United Kingdom require a top-down review. There's no question diplomacy is a complex issue, hardly black and white, and nothing is as simple as I'm probably making it sound. But what I've just done is give you the facts. It is no longer about whether India should or will act, but when. That's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next, 6 p.m. Prime, the ongoing deadlock in Parliament is the big focus with Akshita next.
Troubled as a citizen of India when I see somebody drooling over China and being dismissive about India.
That was just an appetizer from India's External Affairs Minister, who's been under direct attack from Congress MP Rahul Gandhi. The counter-strike provoked by these words delivered in the United Kingdom earlier this month.
The infrastructure that you see in China, the railways, the airports, the dams, they are actually, in the Chinese mind, they are emerging from nature. They're emerging from the power of the river, whereas the West, America, does not see itself as embedded in nature it sees itself as placed on top of nature. Okay? Now this completely changes how you think about things. And this explains, to me at least, why the Chinese would be so interested in harmony.
Rahul Gandhi's admiration for China, coupled with this offensive on the Modi government, opened him to an unusually cutting Jaishankar at the India Today conclave.
He puts his
Powered by घर लेना हो या बेचना 99 एकड़ से ही पूछना। आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, इससे जरूरी कुछ भी नहीं। रिलायंस डिजिटल पर्सनलाइजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी।
Hello and good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. We've got a packed 1 hour for you, from the latest of what's happening in Parliament to an exclusive conversation with Rana Daggubati on the success of Rana Naidoo. We've got you covered with all the latest news. Let's begin with the headlines. India Today accesses exclusive images of separatist leader Amritpal on the run. Images show him fleeing in a Mercedes and then riding pillion on a bike in disguise. NIA intensifies hunt. Khalistani thugs on a rampage in Canada. Gerao, Indian High Commissioner at an event in Surrey, attacked the organizer of the pro-India event as well. Centre gives nod to Delhi's annual budget after Kejriwal writes a letter to Prime Minister against stalling of budget. Kejriwal taunts the Lieutenant Governor, says let him run the national capital. After Rahul alleges every institution compromised, BJP compares Rahul to Mir Jafar, calls him a traitor.
नहीं है कि राहुल गांधी बिना माफी मांगे निकल जाएंगे। माफी तो उन्हें मांगना ही पड़ेगा। हम मंगवा के ही रहेंगे।
Opposition gunks for centre after Interpol red corner notice against Mehul Choksi is revoked. AAP and Congress accuse the Modi government of protecting the fugitive. And Japanese Prime Minister Kishida arrives in Kyiv, set to meet Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Kishida says Japan stands in solidarity with Ukraine. And let's begin by getting you a roundup of what happened in Parliament, which essentially is nothing, because every time Parliament came together, was in session, it was a matter of minutes of non-stop hangama as the opposition staged protests demanding a discussion on Adani. The BJP, on the other hand, was protesting, demanding an apology from Rahul Gandhi. As a result of the stalemate and this bickering between the government and the opposition, since last week, there's been no business that's actually happened in Parliament.
Another predictable day of protest in Parliament. The Narendra Modi government persisted with its demand for an apology from Congress MP Rahul Gandhi for his remarks on the state of democracy while he was in the UK. The opposition is keeping the heat on the Modi government over the Adani stock crisis, demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe into the vexed issue. In a new mode of protest, the opposition parties also hung banners from the parliament corridor targeting the government.
पूरे संसद का, पूरे सदन का आज विपक्ष ने फिर एक बार अपमान किया है। बात ना हो, एक वीक विकेट पे कोई खड़ा हो, तभी इस प्रकार के हल्के कारनामे सुर्खियों में बने रहने के लिए विपक्ष आज कर रहा है।
The BJP on Tuesday compared Rahul to Mir Jafar, whose defection to the British side had helped the East India Company win the Battle of Plassey and take control of Bengal.
राहुल गांधी is the present day Mir Jafar of Indian polity. जो उन्होंने लंदन में किया है, वो ठीक वही किया है। शहजादा नवाब बनना चाहता है और शहजादे ने ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की मदद मांगी है नवाब बनने के लिए।
The Congress, equally defiant, has ruled out any apology by its MP.
देखो ये माफी मांगने का तो सवाल नहीं है, बार बार वो पूछते रहेंगे, हम उसको नकारते रहेंगे।
ये पहली बार इस प्रकार से जाके लंदन में कह रहे हो हिंदुस्तान की डेमोक्रेसी के खिलाफ, ऐसा नहीं है। और ऐसा भी नहीं है कि राहुल गांधी बिना माफी मांगे निकल जाएंगे। माफी तो उन्हें मांगना ही पड़ेगा, हम मंगवा के ही रहेंगे।
राहुल गांधी जी अगर जब आते तो खलबली मच जाते, तो राहुल वो नहीं चाहते कि राहुल गांधी जी आए। और क्षमा अगर किसी को मांगना है तो सबसे पहले प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को मांगना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि विदेश की जमीन पे अगर हिंदुस्तान को कोई प्रधानमंत्री, ऐसा कोई प्रधानमंत्री है हिंदुस्तान में जो छोटा किया, नीच किया, अपमान किया, कलंकित किया, तो वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी है।
Rahul Gandhi has written to Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla to allow him to explain his remarks in Parliament. He is not backing down, as is evident from his unsparing attacks on the Modi government.
And the truth is, the RSS, the BJP and the Prime Minister of India are attacking the idea and the institutions of India. And I will say it again and again and again and again.
Amid the fierce face-off between the government and the opposition, the second leg of the monsoon session is heading towards a washout, and no attempt is being made to salvage it. Bureau Report, India Today.
The Delhi budget was presented today, but once again we saw the same old drama playing out of the Chief Minister versus the Lieutenant Governor, and we saw an unusually aggressive Arvind Kejriwal taking on the BJP, taking on the central government, and particularly the Lieutenant Governor over the fact that you had an impasse over the budget playing out since yesterday. Remember that the LG had refused to clear the budget, questioning ad spends by the government. Kejriwal has responded, launching a scathing attack against the BJP. Taking a dig at the centre, Kejriwal said they wanted me to bow down and that it was their ego that was targeting me. Kejriwal, in a direct message to Modi, said if the Prime Minister wishes to win Delhi, he will have to win the hearts of the people of the capital first. This comes after the MHA had asked the Delhi government to resubmit the budget, addressing the LG's concerns regarding the budget for ads being more than that of infrastructure.
बजट के अंदर 20,000 करोड़ तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे है, 500 करोड़ एडवर्टाइजिंग पे है। अब ये 520,000 से ज्यादा होता है, ये तो हमने नहीं सुना था। इन्होंने ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक अनपढ़ों की जमात बिठा रखी है, पूरी की पूरी अनपढ़ों की जमात बिठा रखी है। पढ़े लिखे लोगों को बिठाओ वहां पे, ताकि वो कम से कम बजट पढ़ने की क्षमता तो रखते हो। पता नहीं किसको दे दिया आपने बजट। पहली बार ये परंपरा जो है इसको तोड़ा गया। उन्होंने ऑब्जेक्शन लगा के भेजे, ऑब्जर्वेशंस लगा के भेजे, वही अपने आप में असंवैधानिक था। लेकिन हमें लड़ना नहीं है, हम लड़ना नहीं चाहते, हम यहाँ लड़ने नहीं आए, हम काम करने आए हैं। उन्होंने जो ऑब्जर्वेशन लिखे हैं, 4 ऑब्जर्वेशन थे, चारों का हमने जवाब लिखा। कोई चेंज नहीं किया बजट में, सेम बजट। ईगो थी, आज वापस आ गया, बजट अप्रूव हो गया। उनको तकलीफ ये है कि दिल्ली में बार बार आम आदमी पार्टी क्यों जीत रही है। उनको तकलीफ ये है कि बार बार दिल्ली में बीजेपी क्यों हार रही है। मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी को कहना चाहता हूं कि अगर आप दिल्ली जीतना चाहते हो तो मैं आज आपको मंत्र देता हूं दिल्ली जीतने का। दिल्ली जीतने के लिए आपको दिल्ली के लोगों का दिल जीतना पड़ेगा।
So this isn't the first time that the Aam Aadmi Party has come under scrutiny, particularly over the expenditure and the budget they've allocated for advertisements. Let's tell you the data that's come in over the last many years, how there's been an increase and a surge in their ad expenses. It starts with 2018 to 2019, when it was just 46 crore rupees. Then between 2019 to 2020, it went up from 46 crores, believe it or not, to 200 crores. And then it continued to steeply rise. From 2020 to 2021, it reached 293 crore, and there you have the last data, 2021 to 2022, where the number went right up to 489 crores. So believe it or not, from 2018, when it was 46 crores, it's reached 489 crores if you look at the 2021-2022 data. And with that, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side is my conversation with Rana Daggubati and the entire team of Rana Naidoo after the stupendous success that they've tasted. We're getting you that exclusive conversation with me and Nabila in just a bit.
Credit score, for instance, that's something that's become a lot more important in recent years. How should one take cognizance of this when looking to structure and looking to borrow?
This is something we get asked all the time at Bank Bazaar, Abba. So today, if you see any ad from a bank, right, it says that if your credit score is over 750, you get a better rate. Or if your credit score is over 800, you get a 0.2% discount on your home loan. So this is something that matters not only to you today, but is going to track and follow you for the rest of your life. So the advice we're giving people, right, is that please, A, be aware of what your credit score is. Whether you're at the stage of taking a two-wheeler, or you're taking a home loan, or you're thinking of a large business loan, every single time the number one determinant of the offer you're going to get is going to be your credit score. Keep it above 750. In fact, aspire to have 800. It starts with A, awareness. Check your credit score online, see what it is. There are a number of sites, including Bank Bazaar, which can provide this information to you. Two, right, there are ways and means to improve your credit score. Every time you pay your EMI on time, your credit score goes up. Every time you pay your credit card bill in full, your credit score goes up. So there are a lot of easy tools that one can use in terms of improving your credit score. So the takeaway here is this is not something that matters just right now. It's going to follow you for the rest of your life. Be above 750 if you can. In fact, aspire to above 800. And always know, like with any skill in life, right, it's not something that is static. If you behave and handle your credit the right way, it will go up. But if you make any mistake, right, if you miss a payment, if you miss an EMI, it will go down. Be aware of it, track it, and make sure it improves.
Okay, so in line with that as well, while talking about credit scores and home loans, we are all aware that the repo rate is rising. How is that going to impact the loan environment?
Yeah, so this has been the biggest gripe that home loan borrowers have. So what has happened, Abba, is since the repo rate this financial year has gone up 2.25%, people are paying a lot more in their home loan. They could be paying it in two different ways, and it's important to call this out. So one way they could be paying more, right, is the bank first tends to increase your tenor to whatever is maximum possible. So they typically tend to increase your tenor by about 5 years. So you're paying additional EMIs. So you might be paying 20, 30, 40, 50 additional EMIs because the repo rate went up 2.25%. You need to look into that.
The story of Lakshmi is a source of inspiration. Despite frugal means, Lakshmi has built a business she's proud of. But it did not come easy. After working in a wide array of jobs, Lakshmi got headlong into the dry cleaning and ironing business. She now caters to over 300 families.
ये हमारा जो प्रोफेशन है वो फैमिली बिजनेस है. मेरे हस्बैंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर में जॉब करते थे. जब लॉकडाउन लगा तो उनकी वो जॉब छूट गई थी. तो ये फैमिली बिजनेस था, हाथ का हुनर था, तो मैंने एक बार बाहर आजमाने की कोशिश की. शुरू में 16 किलोमीटर ड्राइव करके जाना बहुत काफ़ी ऐसा लगता था, पता नहीं कितना दूर जंगल में आना पड़ रहा है.
With all her hard work and dedication, Lakshmi soon took a shop on rent in a housing complex in Jaipur. She has employed 3 people to help her. Lakshmi has not only managed to build a profitable business, she has also given hope and aspirations to her children.
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मम्मी पापा दोनों काम करते हैं हमारे लिए, और मेरा भाई और मैं मतलब अच्छे से पढ़ पाते हैं उस वजह से. मम्मी और पापा बिजनेस करते हैं और इतना दूर जाते हैं, तो हमें बहुत सपोर्ट मिलता है उन दोनों से.
Lakshmi's elder son is pursuing BTech and dreams of joining the Indian Navy after graduation. Her younger son plans to open a cafe.
39-year-old Lakshmi is no less than a superwoman for her family. Despite frugal means and the initial hardship, through her grit and perseverance, Lakshmi has managed to put the family business on the path to progress and given her children the hope and the aspiration to dream big. With camera person Nikhil Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur for India Today.
हेलो।
बड़ा कांड हो गया है, फट रही है। राणा प्लीज तुम सॉर्ट कर सकते हो?
पता है, कोई भी सेलिब्रिटी को प्रॉब्लम होता है सबसे पहले तेरे को फोन जाता है।
Well, if you just take the idea of a problem solver, I like solving problems.
Yeah. Fixer for the stars.
राणा नायडू नाम हर दूसरे बॉलीवुड स्कैंडल में आता है। हमारे यहाँ तो कहते हैं कि अगर राणा जुड़ा है तो स्कैंडल बड़ा है।
It was much more harder than I thought it was because I just never understood character graphs that can be so long.
तेरे को इधर नहीं आना चाहिए था नागा। नाना नहीं बोलेगा मेरे को, बाप हो तेरा।
The chemistry that we spoke about with both of you, the chemistry of Rana and Naga Naidu, is something I found very interesting.
As long as both of us were trying to put a film together, we didn't want to do things of the cliche.
नित्या मेरे को ये मोमबत्ती का स्टोरी बताई, बोली ये वाला फैमिली के लिए है।
There's a new series on the block that everyone's talking about. Rana Naidoo has taken the country by storm, and here on this India Today special with me, Nabila, is the entire team of Rana Naidoo. First, we have our own Desi Ray Donovan, aka Rana Naidoo, aka Rana Daggubati, joining us here in the studio. We also have, of course, the beautiful, lovely Surveen Chawla, whose role has been really a breakthrough in the series, and the makers of this amazing project, Suparn and Karan Anshuman, joining us here at the studios. Thank you very much, all of you, and a big congratulations.
Thank you.
What a pleasure to have you in the studio. Let me take the first question. Why Rana Naidoo?
Why Rana Naidoo, as in why the title or why this show?
Yeah, why the title around Rana Daggubati? They've somehow managed to retain your maiden name. I can imagine, maybe because of the popularity you have.
No, I actually thought it was a working title for the longest time. So this usually happens in Telugu. Every time we have a script and they don't have a character's name, they just use...
They put the actor's name, the number of the film, and keep going.
Keep going, right? I thought it's one of those till it didn't. It was real. So it's very meta for me in many, many ways, this show.
It's also just a powerful name. It can't get better than Rana.
Yeah, we just wanted a very sort of, something that was set a high standard, very exalted. And I just looked up and there's Rana at 6'3". I was like, let's just call it Rana.
As expected, as expected. But whose idea was it to name it Rana Naidoo?
Rana.
Oh, no.
His contract said if the show is not called Rana.
I'm not on board.
Suparn, being the docile guy, would have said, okay, I agree with what you say.
I think I'd say 90% I believe what Rana is saying. Because I saw you off screen.
6'4",
I met you off
of a
screen.
man. When he talks, we listen.
No, but Ray Donovan, that's almost the character that you've essayed to perfection in this series. We see that the series now is on the top of the top 10 list on Netflix. How difficult was it for Rana to essay that character, which was so well received by the masses?
See, this is the first time I'm doing a show, anything long form, anything beyond 2.5 hours. This was the first time I got it. It was much more harder than I thought it was because I just never understood character graphs that can be so long. I'm always an actor who's been in 60 or 80 scenes, and here suddenly you have to be in 300 of them. So that length was the only confusing part, but I started growing to really like and enjoy it because there was no way I could explore a character this deep, this dark. He's called Rana, but it's actually the exact opposite of what Rana is in terms of his understanding of family or a personality itself.
But are you like him in real life at all?
No, I'm not like him really. Well, if you just take the idea of a problem solver, I like solving problems.
Yeah, I was just...
That much. But then in the sense of the legal world and the family drama that I understand is like a happy South Indian joint family that's...
Like your Telugu films.
Yeah. That's what I get. But here I met these two gentlemen that just stirred the dark side on me.
Tell us about your journey in this series. How did you come on board? You know, your character also is a pretty amazing one with such a growth through the entire series.
Yes. So I remember I'd seen Ray Donovan long ago, and Karan actually brought this idea to me, and he really wanted me to play Naina, and I think I went along with his conviction because in a lot of ways I feel like, so in the past I've had all the parts that I've played across my career where I kind of relate to them more than I would probably find the dissimilarities between me. So here was a part where I had fewer points of similarity, but far more in terms of her personality and where she is in her life and the kind of choices she's made and the kind of sacrifice. So I felt like there was a disconnect there, and that kind of drew me.
It pushed you.
Yeah, it pushed me to do something that I probably, while playing Naina, would have to convince myself for. And I think that was the challenge that I really wanted to take up. And of course, Karan was extremely convinced that I would be able to do justice. And I hope I have.
And you did. Naila also was saying she loved your look.
The look of, the several looks that you essay, the series itself, you look so stunning, and really.
I should not be taking that compliment.
Being a mommy has really nothing to do with how stunning you are and how stunning you look.
Thank you.
Crashing
But
all
I think
the
that
stereotypes.
credit has
You've
to
crashed
go to
all stereotypes.
Oh, thank you.
Crushed it rather.
Thank you.
And so, Reid, from where you started, Hate Story, the meaty roles that you got post that. Usually we see women, glamorous women, being typecast, but I think even there you've set your precedence.
I think I did go through a phase where I kind of felt like I'm getting boxed, and that's when I started to feel like, okay, you know what, now was a time to say more no's than yeses. And that eventually, now where I'm at, I think that message has been pretty loud and clear from my end, not intentionally, but it has so happened that when I'm thought of for something as Naina or as meaty or I think I've kind of have somewhere I feel like I have crossed that bridge where I would not want to repeat a part, or I would not want to repeat an experience as an actor that I've had on set playing a part anymore. And I try my best to kind of.
She's just being humble. It's all.
No, I agree.
It's her talent. It's her talent and her range. Her talent
This is the part where we all say no, come on.
But saying more no's than yeses, that's really it's quite a tricky place that you are in at this point when you want to see your career thrive. You don't know where to say no and what to say yes to, but I think you've made your choices right. With Rana Naidoo.
Actually, there then came a time when I started doing that. There came a time when roles actually pick you more than it's the other way around. I truly believe that it truly does happen that way.
Your chemistry with Rana Daggubati.
Choosing, making the right choices again and again. Good karma, being attracted.
For sure.
Reid's chemistry with Rana in Rana Naidoo. Real and real, both actually, we'd like to hear.
You're looking at you.
I don't know. I look at you.
I have a question of both, I think.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Why do you start?
I think we've hit it off really well from day one, if I may say so. And we may had some great conversations. We chatted a lot, and
Rana agrees, right?
Rana
Yes, I agree.
There was silence from this end.
So this whole image that you have of this 6 feet 3, 4 is nothing like who Rana is really as this person.
He's a lamb.
Don't you agree with me?
No, he's nothing like Rana Naidoo.
Absolutely not.
And the chemistry was absolute dynamite. I mean, you should ask us because we were witnessing it as it was happening, and it's very rare to actually see this. It's, you know, contrary to popular belief, it's always rare to have your two leads like getting along like fire. You know,
very organically.
Yeah, very organically on camera, and even like in those bits which are off, you know, while you're prepping for the shoot day or, you know, or in rehearsals. So all that came across wonderfully, and I'm so glad that we were there to witness it and see that magic sparkle and take it well beyond the script.
I think what was also tricky, you want to say something?
No, I'm very free.
I think what was
tricky?
I think what was tricky was that we were playing a couple who's probably spent 18 years together, and that's where the show starts. So to kind of convince ourselves and the audiences that this couple really has been through life with two kids, life happening to them together, and that's your takeoff point. So
we've spoken about Naina, we've spoken about Rana, Naga Naidu, Venkatesh Garu.
Yes.
We really wish he was here with us. I really wish he had joined us. But how did that come along? Because, you know, when I see Telugu films, when I see Venkatesh Garu, his image is very different from what you see in Rana Naidu. So why is it, Suparn, that you felt he fits in perfectly for this series? Because when I saw it and I saw this transformation, I could no longer remember the Venkatesh Garu that I know. How did he come into this series?
So I think, honestly, Rana is the one luckily responsible for it. Because when he decided to come on board, he shared the show with Venki sir, who was ready to do something unique and different and break all images that he had done before, number one. And because he was excited by it and he came on board, it gave a layer that Karan and I were discussing earlier to the character of Naga Naidu, which is the original is, you know he's a badass.
Yeah.
With Naga, you end up loving him and keep questioning yourself, should I be hating him or loving him?
Yeah.
And that's the magic of Venkatesh Garu, who brings it with his image and then plays around with your mind. He's not doing very good things at times.
No, so yeah, I agree. The chemistry that we spoke about both of you, the chemistry of Rana and Naga Naidu is something I found very interesting. He's your uncle.
Yes.
And then you have to translate that into a father-son relationship and one where you hate him.
Yes, correct. So just to continue with what Suparn said, I think my uncle also was in a time where he wanted to reinvent. And like you said, this is the image that you have of him. What's that? Like there's an image that you have of him where most stories...
It's like a perfect family hero.
And see, most stories are revolving around that. And for him as an actor, he really wanted to reinvent and do something new. And I think this is what we got. And also, as long as both of us were trying to put a film together, we didn't want to do things of the cliche. Like usually when somebody is related in the entertainment world, there's a very standard cliche that kind of gets in. So we wanted to cross it. And I feel like we really crossed a lot of cliches in this.
But has the dynamic changed now between the two of you?
No,
After playing father-son and that is this kind of a father-son?
Well, it's I guess it's the most entertaining, no, as actors, and this is what we live for. To do things that we can do in real life or that we don't understand in real life. I think for both me and him, who are part of a joint family that's fully all the time happy together and doing things, this was
a way to break the ice, or break away from your comfort.
Break away from this comfort.
You know, I have that question to Karan. Now, South really is the flavor, all right? With Triple R winning the Oscars for Best Original Song, and you had a lot more coming from the South, breaking records on global platforms. You had Venkatesh, you have Rana Daggubati in a series called Rana Naidoo. Was there a theme before you rolled the series out that you want to predominantly feature people from the South? Because that's possibly the
Yes, I think we are sort of in the business of, this of sort of predicting trends in terms of what's happening and what's new. I have always consistently tried to sort of preempt.
Yeah.
And when we started writing this series, which took about 6 months to put together with 4 other writers, it was I think the idea of bringing in the flavor from the South and sort of melding it into something larger and more pan-India that, of course, Rana has a lot of experience with from before. But in the series space, I thought this was something new that we could try. And we just sort of, went straight with it and into it.
And was Rana your first choice? I wouldn't doubt
it. All sort of happened together. where Rana and Venki sir and our producer, it all sort of happened all at the same time, where I also came on board around the same time. So
one thing that
was
made
very
headlines
nicely.
about this series, Karan and Suparn, is there was a lot of talk about whether it's a bit too out there. There were questions about whether this is vulgar, whether it's offensive, etc. Were you a little worried about that, that you would offend the quintessential conservative Indian?
So two things. One, from day one of promotions, we have been saying this is a family show, which you do not watch with your family. It is an A-rated show, number two. And the fact is this, that the class of characters shown in the show, the place where they're coming from, this is how they would speak authentically. OTT platforms, by nature, make different things for different people.
Agreed.
It's not the same, size fits all. So this is an adult show made for an adult audience, indicated from day one by us, and we never mean to offend, we always mean to entertain, and that's been our goal from day one. We are not here to create controversy, we are not here to offend anybody. We want to tell you stories which go for the heart, and Rana Naidoo, now that people have seen the show, we can actually openly talk about it. It addresses a very, deep emotional issue of child abuse in our show, in a very sensitive manner. And it takes you into the layers of characters who are broken and into a family that's dysfunctional, and there's a reason for it. And we go into those stories. So bottom line is, we never mean to sensationalize. And we are proud of the kind of storytelling that we are getting to do in the age of the golden age of storytelling. So, it's the best time to be.
You spoke of golden age of storytelling, absolutely. I think with OTT, you have artists thrown out there from different backgrounds without any, movie, a godfather backing him or her in the industry, and yet with sheer finesse of art are achieving great heights through OTT. And Rana is known to really toy with different streams. I know you were doing animation during the COVID period.
Yes,
I did speak to you. We had that interview there, and you said you were into animation. But OTT, Rana, for a big star like you, and when we talk about Southern stars, they have a huge mass following. So much so that a lot of them hesitate in venturing into OTT because they feel their commercial releases or success might take a beating. But for you, it seemed quite seamless. This was the next step, was it?
See, that's how I built my entire career. My career was built on things that others weren't doing or things that others thought were risky to do. It started right from my first film, when I did a film that didn't have songs or action sequences that you normally have in a Telugu film. It continued to me doing films in other languages which was not a precedent before I was in. So I think everything that I did, there was a first time to it, and I think I kind of enjoy that. Like Karan said, it's fun to catch the trend before everybody sees it. And like I was talking about Pan India 13 years ago, nobody even understood what I was trying to say, and today everyone is part of that same bandwagon.
Essentially, if you look at it, you've started it.
I was just 13 years ago in Bombay trying to say, here you go, you can make a film.
And I know people who recognize you from Bollywood in compared to what your presence was from the South, but you are a superstar in Telugu cinema. Today Telugu is all over. Today Telugu is all over.
Yes, that's really...
How would you appreciate a lot of your co-stars, those stars from the Telugu industry itself who are achieving great feat?
Well, I think Telugu is a place where we've always been pushing boundaries, whether it's with scale, with story, or the kind of content that we make. And I just feel the narrative of India is now much better than what it used to be, where each of the other states and regions understand one another and are very accepting, and they've kind of found that middle ground of actually being Indians, right?
Very true.
Earlier it was somebody from Delhi and Chennai, there's no connect in terms of what we speak, how we connect, but today there is OTT, there is the web, there is all of that that's kind of transcending well. So I think it's a good time.
On that note, Surveen, for an artist, this is the best time, honestly, to experiment, to go out there, to try different content, because you have so many avenues, as we discussed how OTT is really a game changer, and also because is the audience more accepting? Because you don't see language barriers as much. You don't see issues with, who's acting in it, who's the big star, etc. It's all about one issue, which is the story, which is the script. Do you think that's how right now things are shaping up in the industry, and that's why it's the perfect time and the best time for an artist to experiment?
Absolutely. I think your line of restriction, of course there is respectfully so censorship, but I feel like that line of limitation is much farther than where it used to be. See, OTT as a platform is for your writers, for your actors, for your directors. You see new age content happening, which unfortunately, because of obviously commercial reasons also, is something that is not probably achievable yet on the 70 mm. And I think which is why OTT lays that ground and the opportunity and gives scope for that kind of content coming from those separate kind of areas come along, and I think there's more than enough for everybody on OTT, and you obviously have a parallel content streaming happening other than that.
You know, this particular series, Rana Naidoo, Karan, you've been very open in saying that, you know, it's a remake of Ray Donovan, but when you actually went about making it, in the process of doing so, how did you ensure that this would be a series that people could relate to? That this is something that people would say that, hey, it can happen in India. So you had to take the story of Ray Donovan and then tweak it, obviously, so Indian audiences would.
Yeah, I would say way more than tweak. It's really a an adaptation which is transformative in many ways. See, the writing team and we watched it once, and then we were like, okay, we get a sense of it, we have a sense of characters, where they are starting, where they're going, and we liked some of the high points, and then we just put that aside and we started building it from the ground up. What I really find interesting about Rana Naidoo is that I feel the original story lends itself to India even better than it does to, say, when it is set in America. There you have a family traveling from Boston to LA, but here, you know, just the cultural change that comes from the south to Bombay is far greater.
That's the beauty of India. So.
Right, and even within Bombay, just the extremities that you're dealing with, whether it's the slums of the Arabi or whether it is, you know, the 100th floor of a high-rise, a penthouse that, you know,
in one word, yes.
So it just, there's so much more to mine there story-wise, and you know, we just made it our own completely.
Very true.
I have a question for Rana, though. I mean, and drawing you back to the kind of success that Southern stars have seen today. Rana, like I said, the mass following that each South star has, it almost borderlines rivalry. Ram Charan has his own following. You have Junior NTR who has his own following. But look at the Bonhomie that we saw. Incredible. And I'd like to hear your take on Ram Charan's success today. We hear your great friends too.
Well, obviously, I'm as excited, it almost feels like it's mine, whether it's
He's your best friend, your childhood friend.
Yeah, all of us Charan and I went to school together, yes. No, but I mean, just the fact that entire team of RRR, I know all of them very, very personally, and I just feel they're the most deserving set, and they've done something that is extremely solid. And what's even more beautiful is the fact that it's a song called Natu Natu, which is a Telugu song, which is not even trying to be global. It's a local mass number, which got the Oscars to wake up. I think it's really an amazing time for all of us to be here.
When you saw it, did you think, hey, Bahubali should have won this?
No, man. So I think each one is made of a different time. So I think what Bahubali did is actually got the country together. India was together for the first time as a cinematic nation with Bahubali, and I think RRR has just pushed that boundary to the next edge.
Hey, you know, speaking of Bahubali that you mentioned, you spent so many years to play that role in Bahubali to perfection, and now with OTT, you just said you're seeing yourself in 300 frames and in a shorter time frame. So how is it for you as an actor? How have you really evolved to to match up to the times now ahead?
Well. See, whether it's 50 years ago or 50 years from now, the job of an actor will remain the same. It's to take life and to recreate it again. So whether I have to recreate a tyrant king for 6 years, whether I have to create a fixer in Bombay, whether it's a commander of a navy ship, doesn't matter. I think that's the beauty of our lives, right? We get to constantly live different characters each time, and what the OTT does is just has that much more depth in each character that you play.
You know, sorry.
Yeah, a quick question to Supan. Supan, you know, as we see the series Rana Naidoo itself topping the charts on OTT, I really like to ask you, do we really have crisis managers of such kind in Bollywood? I'm not too sure. Give us some inside gossip.
Let me tell you one thing. India has crisis managers.
Yes, Bollywood though.
Bollywood is the least of them.
Tollywood?
Compared to...
Our troubles are the least of the troubles.
The entertainment is the smallest of them all. If you could take things like politics, if you could take things like... You're in Delhi. Are you asking me this question?
Exactly, right?
But we want to know what's happening
political
in
fixers
Bollywood.
We ask the questions. We ask the questions.
Well, I'm saying look around Delhi and then you will find...
I mean, the halls of power have fixers which need problem solving. In Bollywood, problem solving is I need this actor's dates. Yes, no. I mean,
Nothing like a
simple
Rana Naidoo, huh?
No.
Rana Naidoo is one and only.
Thankfully, yet no. And I don't think we'll ever have that stage. It's a very professional industry. We kind of dramatize it just for the sake of having fun, and we are having fun with it. I mean, we are in the industry, but end of the day, you have 300 to 400 people on a daily basis on every set of a show or a film, working 15 hours on a bare minimum. Because a 12-hour shift, you have people coming 3 hours prior. Your spot boys, your lightmen, your caterers start first. Then the rest come. 15 hours, then they go back home. 4-5 hours of sleep. 2 channel entertainment. That's the industry we are in. So yeah, I mean, that's how serious the business is.
Very true, very true. I've run out of time, which is why I'm constantly interrupting. But just a quick word to wrap up from all of you. So many out there have seen Rana Naidoo season 1. What can you expect from season 2? Supan, starting with you.
Madness, mayhem, and more entertainment.
Yes, I like this. 3 words each. Rana.
Well, so like you said, everyone's seen it. I hope we get enough data from the ones who've seen it and Netflix to make sure we make a greater season 2. That's it.
Amazing. It had to be 3 words.
Yes, that's
a lot more of me. Sorry, I'm taking one extra one.
And why not? We'd love to see it. I'd like to.
And the award for best answer goes to.
I think that now that everyone's settled in, we're really going to amp things up in the second season.
Okay, put your seatbelts on is the message here. Thank you very much for joining us here at the India Today studio. Congratulations once again to all of you on the success of Rana Naidoo. That's all we have time for. Thanks from me and Nabila.
Brian, direct question to you. Am I right to say that the Trinamool Congress does not want to work under the Congress's leadership, Rahul Gandhi's leadership, either in Parliament or outside Parliament?
Well, since you're talking about Parliament, Mrs. Sardesai, let me tell you what's the most important story coming out of Parliament for the last 6 days. 36 hours of Parliament has been stalled, all 36 hours, by the BJP. They're standing up and shouting slogans because they don't want the Adani imbroglio, the Adani issue to be discussed. A government has stalled, disrupted Parliament for 36 hours. The opposition have not been given a chance to express themselves in Parliament.
Mr. O'Brien, I asked you a specific question. I asked you a specific question. You're not responding to my question. Are you willing to accept the leadership?
I'm learning from India
Congress?
Today. I'm learning from you. I'm answering your question.
Please do.
I've now got used to the monologue because for the last 2 days y'all have not asked a single question to the Prime Minister. He was on your channel for 1.5 hours. Did you ask him one question on Adani? Did you ask him one question about why Parliament was stalled? And y'all are obsessing about the opposition. From 8 o'clock this evening, I've been tracking your channel. It's now 10 o'clock. Not a single line on the biggest story of the season.
What are you doing on my show then? I'm asking you a question.
BJP want to protect the Adani.
I don't shoot the messenger. I'm asking you a question. Please.